There we go. Hello, you wonderful humans. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday, it's 7 o'clock. It's time for our Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. For those of you who tuned into our Thursday workshop last week here on Instagram, you heard me say I was having some technical difficulties with our iPad and that I would be apologizing to our YouTube people. We got the same problem tonight. Thought it was fixed. So, posthumously, whatever, after the fact, all you YouTube people, I'm still filming this for you. I'm recording it. I'm going to post it to YouTube. I'm very sorry that you were unable to watch it live with us. If you jump over, if people jump over to Instagram, even if you don't have an Instagram account, you can call us. We will answer the phone. We'll take your question live on the air. If this is your first Wednesday weekly workshop with us, we always start this by going over what it is we've worked in the office this week, and then we take questions. You get to ask me any question about health that you want. When the questions stop coming in, it's the end of the live stream. So let's jump into it. This week, we worked on food poisoning. And that was kind of a bummer case because it was a husband and wife who both got it. That's a bummer because the whole household wasn't feeling so hot. Next one, headaches. And when I talk to people about headaches, I always ask them what part of their head is aching. So that is so important to know. The nutrients that the frontal lobe of the brain needs has a little bit of overlap, but is very unique compared to something like the cerebellum, top of the head, etc. So when we talk about headaches, we like to know what part of the head is aching. Allergies came up, and while that's usually a springtime symptom, this time of year, dust is the most common thing that's messing with people. We're indoors more often, we got the furnace blowing all the time. Even if we're changing the filter regularly, there's no way to say that that filter in the furnace is grabbing all the dust. So we want to equip our bodies to deal with the dust issue so that we're not reliant on a filter or some kind of purification system. Lyme came up with a handful of clients this week. I don't diagnose anybody with Lyme. That's what a doctor does. What I'm interested in is helping nourish the parts of the body, especially the immune system, so that it can fight back the way it was designed to against infections like Lyme. And last but not least, parasites. And parasites no more. So whatever your age is, your body is capable of incredible things. The gentleman this week who came in and said he was no longer seeing parasites in his bowel movements is in his 80s. Now, a lot of people have questions and doubts like, hey, is there really parasites in there? Certain things can come out of you that look like parasites. I could probably do a whole workshop just on that. Here's what I'll tell you about this gentleman. A few months ago, he brought in some tissue paper that had very small little parasites on it. And that he had collected in a bedpan. So I can personally say without a doubt that this gentleman absolutely had parasites and that he's no longer seeing those. That's been pretty fantastic. Mm-hmm. He's also excited about it too. That was this week, kind of in a nutshell. We saw other things, but these are some of the more interesting things. Now I'm curious, what questions do people have out there?
Nothing's rolled in yet, Drew.
Nothing yet, okay. It's an opportunity to say that next Wednesday is Christmas. We won't be here. The week after that, it'll be the New Year. So we won't be here for that one either. So we'll miss you. I'm sure we're going to be putting out content. It just won't be a Wednesday weekly workshop. I can also tell people that this Saturday, 10 a.m., we're doing a workshop here. And it's geared towards clients. But everyone is welcome to it. It's the last time I'm going to say everyone is welcome to a Saturday workshop. It's talking about fixing fatigue. So we're going to talk quite a bit about heart health and quite a bit about adrenal health this Saturday. It's free. It's at 10 a.m. It'll go till about 11 a.m. and that's including time to ask questions. So not our longest workshop by a long shot. Now, I imagine, Lori, that you have questions.
I always have a question or two.
Do I know this woman?
I think we talked about this maybe a month or so ago. It's the topic of moringa, and I keep hearing more and more stuff on social media about the benefits of it.
Yes.
And I would love to hear you speak on it
Sure.
regarding yay, nay,
I can do that.
sources. My personal interest is what's caught my attention,
Yeah.
honestly, is they say it helps with high cortisol levels.
Okay. All right. Do you know where moringa grows?
I do not.
Okay. I'll tell you what, it's not in the United States. Okay. So there are a lot of quote unquote superfoods out there. Everybody time travel with me for a little bit. 2006, acai, all the rage. Do you all remember acai? It had that little funky thing on the
Yeah,
seed.
you never knew how to pronounce it.
Do you have acai berries? Do you have acai berries? I was working in a little nutrition store and people pronounce it all sorts of different ways. Bless their heart, they were just trying to get nourished. Who remembers goji berries?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's go one more. Let's see how deep we can go with this. Who remembers noni berries? All right. Super antioxidants. One goji berry is like eating 50 blueberries. And noni literally changes your driver's license. So it says you're 48 now instead of 57. And it's like, oh, it's amazing. Oh, my God, it's magic. Okay. They get a little bit hyped. So instead of talking about moringa necessarily, because it does have some antioxidants in it, has some vitamin C in it, that's all cool. I want to talk to you about the issue with using superfoods like these ones, okay? And it's actually the same issue that comes up with bananas. If you've ever been to Hawaii or Costa Rica maybe, and you've had a banana that is fresh right off of the tree, you know that the bananas that we get here in the States pale in comparison to those. Okay? That's a freshness factor. So for a banana to get from Costa Rica up to the United States to my grocery store, it has to be harvested before it has fully matured, before it has reached that optimal level. Because if we don't, it'll spoil by the time it gets to the grocery store. Now here's the rub. If the banana doesn't stay on the tree long enough and fully mature and develop, it doesn't have all the nutrients that it should have in it. And that's the problem. So for that banana to get to us, its optimal life cycle gets messed with. For moringa, for acai, for goji, for noni, same problem.
Wow.
They're often getting harvested long before they're optimized so that they can get to the States. If they aren't trying to send the whole fruit to the States, a client brought in a moringa product that was grown in Africa, produced in China, and then sold in the United States. How long ago was that thing picked? Okay. For something to be in transit that long, it has to be picked well in advance. And then my concern is the freshness, just like the bananas. Did their life cycle get messed with so much that the nutrient, when you live where moringa, acai, goji, or noni are grown, if you live there, you can harvest it and eat it fresh and get all the benefit of it. And if you don't, by the time it gets to you, it pales in comparison to what it should be. That's my concern. Okay. So what I would say in response to moringa, acai, goji, noni, all of those things, is I would say there's some US superfoods that I would say, all right, you want a bunch of antioxidants? I want you to eat local, organic produce. Organic, meaning they haven't treated it with chemicals. So you're getting food, not chemicals. Local, meaning it was harvested very recently and is still fresh. This local aspect is what the people who live underneath banana trees get to experience every day with their bananas. If the farmer has just harvested that food, it's going to be fresher than what you can get at the grocer. I like shopping at farmers markets quite a bit Because often when I talk to the vendors at farmers markets, it was that day or the day before that they harvested the majority of the product they have there, and that is way fresher than what you're going to find at a grocer. So that's what I would say to moringa. It's got a huge sales campaign behind it, a lot of marketing, but all the marketing in the world doesn't defeat or doesn't get around the lack of freshness.
Yeah, well, that would explain why it's not testing well here in the clinic.
Yeah. And there are companies that want us to carry moringa. Like, how'd you get it? And they're like, oh, well, I get it from a third party, and then it's really potent. And I'm like, it's not as potent as if you just plucked it off the tree and used it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Quick side note, I don't think it's going to hurt you to take it. I just don't think it's doing all the wonderful things it claims to do. Yeah.
Thank you.
When I was working at that little Podunk nutrition store in Northwest Indiana, we sold noni. We sold quite a bit of noni and acai. And I wasn't totally convinced of it, but I learned something from one of the regular customers there. What she said was a tablespoon of that stuff mixed in with water got her little toddler to actually drink water all day. I was like, awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Bottle had 30 tablespoons in it. You got a month's supply in that bottle, and now your kid's drinking water. Go for it.
Love it.
Yeah. Other questions on your brain too? It's unless some rolled in.
No.
We're missing out on our YouTube questions.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
I'm gonna futz with that tomorrow when I'm in here.
Want to speak about yogurt?
What do you want to know?
Is all yogurt good for us?
Oh, very good question.
How about that?
All right, let's jump into yogurt. Yogurt. All right. Milk matters is the first point. So what do I mean by that? Cow's milk is different from goat's milk, is different from coconut milk, is different from sheep's milk. Okay. The idea being that all of those different yogurt starting milks can, I say milks because you can't milk a coconut. Not even if you're really careful. They all have different size proteins. So this is an important thing to know. In the human digestive tract, there's little spots that protein can really neatly fit into and get absorbed. And those little spots, those little receptor sites, can pull in goat protein more easily than it can cow protein. So for a lot of people who don't do well with dairy, they do very well with goat or sheep's milk. And a big part of that is often that the protein size is smaller with goat and sheep. So it's easier to get the protein to get absorbed, which means you don't have undigested food sitting in your gut, which is always a good thing. We want the food in our body getting processed and fully digested. So protein size is a big issue. So if you don't do well with cow's product, I strongly recommend looking for goat or sheep. Okay? Now, when it comes to cow's milk, raw is ideal. If you have concerns about eating raw milk, I strongly encourage you to find a company that is making a raw milk cheese or raw milk yogurt, go to their website, and read about how they make that product, the steps they're taking to make sure that it's a clean product. It's usually not completely raw, like straight out of the cow. It's usually cooked to some extent, just not as severely as most companies cook their milk before making cheese or yogurt out of it. So I'd like you to take the time to look at the products and understand them better. Because right now in our mainstream media, there's a lot of people talking about raw milk, and there's a lot of misconceptions about raw milk. So instead of making blanket statements, let's go to these companies' websites and read about their process so we can individualize it. We can better understand it. Raw is ideal. A2 is second best. If you're wondering what A2 is, certain types of cow make a type of milk that is just easier to digest. It's called A2. The companies that are exclusively using A2 milk in their products are really proud of it. They stamp a big old A2 right on the label of the product. Look for that. It's easier to digest. Even if you don't think you have trouble digesting milk products, I'm still going to encourage you, because the price isn't any different, to eat the foods that are easier to digest. Your body is working hard enough as it is. You don't need to give it more things to work on. And then the bacteria that's in it. So ideally, it should not be added. Ideally, they would get the milk, they would let it age slightly. Bacteria is still in there because it hasn't been really severely processed. And then that bacteria will multiply and eventually turn the milk into yogurt. Mm-hmm. That's an ideal scenario. If not, if you're not able to get a yogurt that has no bacteria added, what you should do instead, second best, is rotate the yogurts that you eat. The different yogurts have different strains of bacteria. The different strains of bacteria do different types of work for our body. They have unique benefits. We want a nice diversity. For the most part, when I'm talking about good bacteria, like what's in yogurt, I'm telling people it's not about the amount of good bacteria you eat, but that you are consistently getting it and that you're getting a nice diversity of it. That's a big deal. One of my favorite yogurt brands to go with is Clover Meadows. I also like Siggy's. And please get full fat. Nature put all that fat in there for a reason. Fat helps our body use protein. Most yogurts are pretty rich in protein. We need that fat to help our body put that protein to good use. So we don't want to cut it out. We don't want to mess with nature's plan. Nature has a really good plan. Let's just try to work with that plan. Questions on yogurt, Two Boots?
If I said Greek yogurt to you, what comes to mind?
Yeah, thicker consistency, usually higher protein per pound, more popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've never heard those brands before.
Clover Meadows here in the southeast Wisconsin area, Good Harvest. That's in Pewaukee or Waukesha?
I think Pewaukee.
Pewaukee? Mm-hmm. They carry that. They have, big shout out to Susie. She gave me, they have a vanilla maple, or is it just maple? And they have a vanilla orange. It's like
yogurt?
It's dessert. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. I got a client named Ricky who lives out of town. When he comes into town to get workup done, he'll stay with me for a few days, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. He insists we go to Good Harvest for a bunch of food, and we buy literally quarts of that stuff, and in 3 or 4 days we each go through 48 64 ounces. That's so yum. Wow. Fully yum. Nice. Yeah, really good.
And Siggy's is the same place?
No, Siggy's is all over.
Oh, okay.
So in southeast Wisconsin, Pick and Save, Sendix, it's all over. Interesting. They make a triple cream, which is really rich, but it makes the protein that's in it much easier to assimilate. Okay. Yeah. That's yogurt.
Now we've got a new question coming in from Slick Nick.
Cool.
His question is, caught pneumonia, what should I boost to help fight it besides the antibiotics I'm on?
Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry you got pneumonia.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm glad you got some big guns to handle pneumonia. We do not mess around with pneumonia.
Nope.
Pneumonia, strep, those are things that, like, I have all sorts of ideas on how to support the body while it's dealing with that stuff. But But if we have strep or pneumonia, we are getting medical intervention. Those are not things we futz around with. So I'm glad you got antibiotics. I don't usually say that, do I? All right, pneumonia. What color haven't I used? Red. All right, pneumonia. Big bummer. Okay. So we're going to look at lung health, airways outside of the lungs, lymph tissue to make sure the body's clearing that stuff out. And then we're also going to look at liver, because that's also going to help clear out a bunch of the debris and the waste that comes with pneumonia. And a lot of the stuff we do for liver is going to end up benefiting the kidneys, which will be good too. This kind of work. So if you have pneumonia, the first thing that I want you to take, it's called Amphiplex by standard process. Most people are going to need between 3 and 6 a day. Think of Amphiplex as a multivitamin for your lungs. It also helps thin mucus, not remove mucus. Your body makes mucus. There's good reason to have mucus in your lungs. But we want to keep it thin so it doesn't stagnate anywhere, so it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Amphiplex not only helps the lungs to function, it also keeps that mucus thin so it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Next thing we want to do is we want to get some Antranex on the case. And this, the baseline is 3 to 6 a day, but then symptomatically, I've had people on as many as 24 a day. That's quite a bit. That's spread out throughout the whole day where you're doing like 3 every hour or 2. Okay. Antranex, major support for the airways and the liver and also the lymph. So it's a drainage product. If you've watched these live streams before, you probably are aware of this. Antranex is one of those things that helps us get junk out of the body. It's really efficient at that. So we have a multivitamin for the lungs. We have something that helps us get junk out of the body. And then we have one supplement that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to pneumonia, because they're usually just thinking lungs, but it's one of my secret weapons for dealing with pneumonia. It is Beta-Col by standard process. And this is a big time liver product. When you read about Beta-Col, you're going to hear about joint stiffness, joint issues, liver issues, trouble digesting fats, a lot of liver symptoms. But there's also nutrients that exist in Beta-Col that are really good at helping the lungs clean themselves out. There's a bit of phosphorus inside this. There's a lot of things the lungs need to perform ideally and get clean, which we definitely want. And that one, that's usually going to be 2 to 3 a day. Doesn't take very much to get that done. So we have a multivitamin for the lungs. Also has a little bit of immune support in it. Keeps mucus thin. Antranex to help remove junk from the system. And then our secret weapon, Beta-Col. Really good at cleaning. Really good at keeping things from getting stiff and having trouble moving. When we have pneumonia, we want our lungs to move because we want to make sure that we can contract and really move air out of there and expel things that are getting stuck in the lungs. Nick, let me know if that answers your question. Don't want to see anybody with pneumonia, but if you're going to have pneumonia, you might as well do something about it.
He said, yes, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Good to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions rolling in?
No questions rolling in here, but can I just say, I did the math and I want to share with you that today marks the 82nd live stream we've had since we opened shop here.
Wow. So is that 82 Wednesday weeklies?
Yes.
So then the Thursday and Saturday workshops are in addition to that?
Correct. Yeah,
wow.
I'm just talking the live stream Wednesdays.
Wow.
Yeah, 82.
Tonight is 82. Wow. Gotta put that up here. So you gotta, please help me remember to do this. From now on, we gotta put the number on there.
Okay.
The videos that just went up on YouTube, we gotta figure out some way to get the old Instagram videos up on YouTube and renumber them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Oh, we've got Erica here with a question.
All right.
Can kids eat runny egg yolks?
Yes. So I'm going to encourage you to cook them somewhat, but like over easy eggs, yeah, totally, totally. We want the best eggs possible, so that's going to mean pasture raised. Or if you know the farmer and you know they feed their chickens dirt and bugs and stuff that chickens are supposed to eat. But yeah, kids eating runny egg yolks. One of the first foods that my wife and I gave both of our kids was eggs over very, very easy mixed with breast milk. That was one of the first foods we ever gave our kids. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll give the chat a few more minutes. If other questions are bubbling up, ask. But otherwise, when we run out of questions, we call it a night. And Lori and I want to get out to the bar, so...
You're so funny.
I don't think we've ever gone to a bar together.
No.
No.
Maybe some of the group things we've done. We've been when we go out to eat and stuff with groups.
Yeah.
People. Yeah.
Have we done birthday parties for our former coworkers that you were at?
Like we did. Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, situations like that. Yeah. Okay, so we have.
Yeah.
Okay. With Brandon, that was the Mexican food. That was what's that
Bel
Air.
Yeah.
Cantina.
There we go.
Right. Any questions? All right, you wonderful humans. If you celebrate Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Hanukkah, have a Happy Hanukkah. If you celebrate that this season has some whimsy and some magic to, or that you're grateful for something, or that you like exchanging gifts, or if you're just not a complete jerk, then I hope you have a happy version of whatever you do. You will see us when we stream here on Saturday. And as always, if you have questions, if you have something you need, you reach out to us. Here's all the different ways to get a hold of us. See you soon.